Hey there, welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time. On this channel, we talk about how in life it's not only me and it is not only you, but the ups and downs that we go through in this life are universal. So today, I thought it'd be great to talk about changing our perspective to see opportunities. I almost did it wrong. To see opportunities and not obstacles. And what I was reading, it mentioned that having a godly wisdom, it allows us to have the proper perspective. And we know that our perspective can truly transform our experience, for the better or for the worse. So being able to have the right perspective, it will allow you to experience joy, even if your circumstances don't change. So despite anything actually changing, you are able to have or walk or be in a elevated or uplifted state, regardless, despite whatever it is. And one of the reasons why I really harp on perspective is because of how powerful your perspective is. I'll read you the definition of perspective. Perspective, according to Google, Cambridge Dictionary. Perspective is a particular attitude, point of view, or way of regarding situations and facts. It refers to the mental framework shaping how individuals understand the world. And why I think it's so important to really understand what perspective is so that you can execute it or implement it properly. So perspective, from what I've researched and found, has a few different aspects. There's a psychological aspect. There is a literary aspect, and then there's, of course, the origin, which is Latin, which is perspectivus, an optical or to look through something in a certain way. Now, the psychological part, it acts as a lens that gives life or gives color to our experiences, as well as it guides our emotional responses and help regulate that for us. And in terms of the literary part that it talked about, it can dictate how a person perceives, values, and also the background that shapes the narrative. So now that we've kind of got all the technical stuff out of the way in terms of what is perspective and how it can help us, I want to talk about your perspective's ability to heal your past. Because going forward, of course, it's beneficial to look at the lens, look at your perspective, and judge or address situations accordingly as you go forward in life. But there is a benefit, there is a reason why you may want to retrospect, right? You might want to look back at past experiences and also see, okay, I made it through this experience, but is there something that I could have gotten more out of it, right? And that will also be utilized as you go forward in life. But it is important to heal from past experiences. And in healing from past experiences, we can look at our perspective. One of the ways that I've done this is, as we get older, and of course, parentals get older, you can, not to excuse any mistreatment or abuse, I'm not speaking of that. What I'm talking about is, simple decisions that parentals can make, and they can have an impact on us, right? But as you get older and you can look through the lens of my so-and-so, they were an adult. They are still an adult, but they were an adult. They were put in a situation. They were doing the best with what they had. They made decisions based upon the information that they had at the time. And yeah. So it's a unique thing when you can get to a different part of life where you don't see that person wholly as a parental, but you start seeing them as a person. Building a friendship with your parental as a person, not someone that they are responsible for, that they have to take care of, but as a person, a whole person. Whether it's a mother figure and you now see her and she's girlier, and you're able to see that person in a different light, a father figure or a father, and you can see him in a different light and just see them for who they are. That is a small example of the simplicity of changing your lens and seeing something different. Even looking at a past experience and looking at yourself and seeing that I was doing the best that I knew to do with what I had. Forgiving yourself. And perspective can also help us forgive others. So one of the quotes, I'm reading this book, it's called the Pivot Yea. I'll link it down below. But one of the things that I came across, and I'll read you a series of some of the quotes that I read and came across. One of them, it's written for days. So this is day 27. And for day 27, it mentioned that healing is often a process of being able to hold and embrace the contrasts of your experience, to embrace them, to let them be. I'll let you sit with that. Because it's painful sometimes to have an experience not go how you want it to do. Maybe it goes against what you wanted, or it's the opposite of what you wanted, and that contrast can be where a lot of friction and turmoil occurs. And as we are able to, one of the other things in there says, you learn to trust in what passes you by, so you'll begin to trust in what lands right in front of you. And that's beneficial, because we can sometimes put so much on something, and if it doesn't come to fruition, then now we're discouraged. When really, if I viewed it as everything, almost everything that is meant for me, I'll get. And well, you could say everything. Good things. I like to call out the good things. Every good thing that's meant for me, I will get. And sometimes I perceive something as good for me, but I don't get it. And I could then change my whole attitude to now reflect that of someone who didn't get something they wanted. Or I can use that denial or that being passed over or something not being granted to my better mind that says, maybe that was not for me. I didn't need that. And there's something that I will find more enjoyable. There's something that will be better. And I have to trust that, like it mentioned, learn to trust in what passes you by, so you'll begin to trust in what lands in front of you. And really changing my perspective so that I can see it wasn't meant for me. And that's okay. Being okay with that. Changing one's perspective to look for opportunities, not look for obstacles. Why is this good for me? Why is this going to help me? Why is this going to better me? Why is this happening for me? What can I get from this? Even how we phrase those key critical questions when we are faced with, a contrasting situation. When we're faced with a contrasting situation that maybe shows a little bit of was undesired or some darkness, as opposed to the light or the favorable thing that you wanted. How do I deal, or how do I handle that contrast? How do I behave myself in that contrast? So I want to encourage you in your walk today, look for the opportunity. In whatever you face, look for the opportunity. And that changing of your lens, I believe it'll really bring about a more enjoyable life for you, even if your circumstances don't change. Simply shifting to see and to seek and to ask for the opportunity in this situation. In my current experience, where is the opportunity? What opportunity is now here that wouldn't have been here had things gone the way that I thought it would have been good, or I thought it would have been better? So I hope you got something from today's video, and you will seek opportunities and not observe or seek out obstacles. Opportunities. There's a book too. It's called The Obstacle is the Way. I'll link that down below as well. You can go on Amazon or wherever the link is, and you can read read books. Read books a lot. Read books a lot. They will also shape your perspective and change your perspective. You're probably reading a lot of different things, but pick books and select books with the intent of bettering you and improving your experience in life. So leave a comment down below, please. Let me know what you thought about today's video. If you have not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button, please. And leave me a comment down below. I love reading your comments. I love doing the comment shout outs. We're going to be doing more of those. And go have a wonderful day filled with lots of opportunities. Sunshine. I love you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.